Hello, this is Impact of Artificial Light Pollution on Living Beings by Eric Anderson. The table of contents starts with what is light pollution, followed by critical issues affecting us globally, finally with a gathered information and a reflection by me. What is light pollution? Light pollution is a multi-layered concept that affects us all. It is not a simple or straightforward concept. Light pollution is defined as the brightening of the night sky, which has a disruptive effect on natural cycles and inhibits the observation of stars and planets. Light pollution can be seen simply by looking at the night sky. However, many assume that light pollution comes from beams of light shining directly upward, but this is a common misconception. The beams shining more horizontally are the ones that cause the light pollution. Light can be scattered in all directions through the use of the following, such as air molecules, airborne dust, and water vapors that we produce and see every day. There are many critical issues that are faced through light pollution that we need to educate others on. When you go outside at night, look up, and how many stars do you see? You may see some may see none, and others may be lucky enough to see a whole sky full. But there are less and less being able to be seen. Sky glow and light pollution are a serious concern for us as a population. Many of the critical issues that come from this type of pollution start with the disruption of the circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms affect all humans, plants, and animals alike. Circadian rhythm disruption in humans can cause serious sleep deprivation, which can then lead to health issues. An effect of the circadian rhythms in nighttime animals, such as feeding, sleeping, scavenging, hunting, all of those will be disrupted, along with plants that photosynthesize at night or open up at night to reduce water loss. Increased stress levels will also have an effect on health. Nocturnal behavior changes, animals that hunt at night, animals that, scavenge at night are more at risk when the light at night is shining brighter for longer periods of time. There's less time for them to scavenge, there's less time for them to hunt. Therefore, we are going to see a decline in certain animal populations due to this. One species, for example, is the long-nosed bat, which hunts at night and is being affected due to the brighter night sky and are an endangered species. With this species being endangered, they are at more risk for going extinct if light pollution is not reduced. Another factor is reproductive activity is being affected. Birds and other animals alike rely on nighttime for nest stability and vocal calls, along with a reduction in mating. Therefore, populations of common species may begin to decline. After going through what is light pollution and some of the critical issues that we face due to this, I've reflected a lot on my own life experiences along with what I've grown to learn over this time. So based on this week's lesson and the article Sky and Telescope by Hottenbach, light pollution and sky glow are a lot more serious of an issue than we are made aware of, and humans are the main source of this. Yes, we are also the main source for a lot of other types of pollution. However, if it wasn't for the invention of the light bulb by Thomas Edison, light pollution would not have existed, at least not as intensified. So after reading this article, a good point was made, and that is that everybody contributes to light pollution, but everybody can help resolve the issue. It is at a global level, and we need to look at this concept more largely. One of the things that was said in the article that researchers mentioned was that instead of guessing the brightness of the sky, actually measure it. And there are many of us out there that go outside and we look up at the sky and we don't even know what we're looking at. But if given the opportunity with the proper tools, what if we could use that information that we gathered just by observing our natural days and put it towards good use? And that's what this article began to talk about, is how everyday people can be amateur scientists simply by using an app or sky quality meters that allow us to measure the sky's limiting visual magnitude or the amount of light that's being produced. By allowing other amateur scientists, if you will, or common people, you're going to get a large amount of different types of data. Now, there is quantity, not quality, in this type of research. However, the data is needed. Unfortunately, not many of these amateur scientists are very familiar with the type of technology and understand how to use it properly. So the range of data that we're getting is enormous. Regardless of its relevance or not, all data is important to understanding where we need to reduce our pollution footprint. And although we have satellite images that can send us pictures of what the light pollution looks like on our globe, the data from those satellites is not necessarily meaningful to the light pollution because it's measuring more of the upward beams. It also takes many shots and a lot of information gathered to produce those images, so we can't actually rely heavily on them. One thing that leaves me wondering is how our light pollution and sky glow have either increased or decreased over the last 2 to 3 years with the global pandemic going on. To me, that would probably lead me to more research, in which I would be interested to see if more people staying at home, less people on the roads, had any type of effect on our light pollution or sky globe issue. And here are my references. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed your presentation.